Update 1.71 is here on Gran Turismo 7. Along with brand new cars included in the update, we have had significant changes to the handling model and some huge changes to the BOP, right through from GR1 all the way to GR4. In today's video, I'm going to briefly go over the new cars, check out what comes in the update, and see how the changes to the BOP affect the cars. If you're into racing game content, you should probably tickle that subscribe button, because who doesn't like a tickle? Anyway, let's check out the new cars. Now, in the used car dealership, you will find the Toyota Mark II Tourer V97 and the Toyota Chaser Tourer V97. These will be quite handy for like drifting if you're into that kind of thing. They're also pretty inexpensive. Hyundai have given us another electric car that no one asked for, but more importantly, we have Caterham. And we have this beautiful masterpiece, the Caterham 7 Superlight R500. Look at that actual beast. 263 brake horsepower. I don't think everyone's ready. I really don't. For me, the new cars, this is the one that I'm most interested. We're actually having an event on Friday with just these cars. It's such a cool addition to the game that I'm really happy to see the Caterham being added. There was really nowhere else I could take this car to other than Brands Hatch. This is where this car should live. It is so, like, wayward. It just really wants to kill you at every opportunity. And I have TC on. I can already feel, like, the changes to the handling already. In terms of the acceleration, I feel like the accelerator is a little bit more sensitive. Ah, yeah, Ferrari who? Never heard of her. Just having to be a little bit more gentle as I go on the grass. Oh, too much on the accelerator when he just wants to kill you. Oh, I'm in the wall. I'm in a wall. Gets a bit too excited going on to acceleration. It's a very excitable kind of car, isn't he? Come on. Making my way through, just but he doesn't want to kill me. Now, the full notes for the update notice is pretty extensive, so I'm not going to go over every single part of it, just the key points. There's engine swaps. Oh, Meps is going to be so excited. He can finally have a fast Suzuki Swift physics simulation model. So they've adjusted the tyre physics algorithm, focusing on the simulation when tyres are slipping. I kind of felt a little bit of that in the Caterham. Road surface resistance, rolling resistance has been optimised, tyre heating and wear values have been adjusted. The amount of tyre grip loss when grip reduction off track is set to real has been adjusted. Engine torque. The throttle control, I definitely noticed the car speed, like the throttle, like it, when you press down, it seems more in time with your foot. There was a tiny bit of delay previously, but each car has been optimized, improving simulation of turning forces. Yeah, Gran Turismo, you just go, it turns. Which isn't very realistic sometimes, but there's a whole load of things. If they've messed with the aero, different gear settings. Oh, they've messed with the bloody Red Bull X 2019. Adjusted force feedback, torque strength and friction. Definitely noticed that a little bit, although I would say that the force feedback on my wheel, which is a Thrustmaster T598, is a little bit numb. But there is feedback there, it's just a bit numb. There's a lot of stuff to go through. What I'm interested in is to talk through the BOP and to see which cars have been nerfed, apparently. In terms of the vehicles that have been pretty nerfed, I would say that the majority of cars between GR1 and GT4 have taken significant changes. A lot of them have just sort of had their PP reduced. GR1, for example, the Alpine hybrid BMW, the XJR 787B, a couple of those have seen quite significant weight changes and PP changes. We need to change that. I know it's performance points, but like seriously, my brain goes elsewhere. The R18 Audi, both of those, the four-wheel drive in particular, and the Bugatti VGT, they've had quite significant PP improvements and also have reduced weight. So they could potentially be the runners in terms of GR1. GR2, we don't have many GR2s, but literally the only ones that haven't been nerfed, the Mercedes CLK LM. Everyone else, like the NSX, for example, that if you did a GR2 weekly race, everyone just got in the NSX. That was just the OP car. They seem to have tried to balance it out, but I think the problem for Gran Turismo is they balance it out and they always end up with one that's OP. The Honda NSX, which is just OP generally in the GR2s, that has taken a massive slump. GR3s or GT3s, as everyone knows, everything has taken a plummet in terms of PP, but there are a couple of cars that have had improvements. By the look of this, they have nerfed the new Ferrari, which is good, and also the new Porsche 911, because those cars were massively OP and everyone just used them. Even in this week's daily race, see, everyone was in the Porsche. So it's nice to see that they've obviously seen that the 296 and the 911 were pretty OP and tried to balance it out. In terms of what I think could be better now, they've also nerfed the Beetle a little bit. It would be nice to see other cars being competitive and then balancing out the BOPs, especially in GT3s, because there is always one that is just significantly better. Finally, the GR4s have gone a little bit different. So they have nerfed a couple of cars, but they've also plus, like the Audi TT has had plus 19.24 increase on their PP, which I imagine most men would enjoy. The Scirocco has, the WRX has, the RCZ Peugeot for all you maniacs. Again, we'd have to try them. This is going to take a lot to try and figure out what now would be the BOP car in terms of all. But what I'm most interested in is the handling model. Now for me, I don't really enjoy the GT3s. I think out of all of the handling models that I've tried on various different racing games, Gran Turismo 7 is probably one of my least favourites. Slightly arcadey feeling, and the feedback is quite minimal. So I'm interested to see how that will go. Now the GR1s, and I like the newer GR1s, they all seem to be fairly similar, apart from the Bimmer, which is less brake horsepower. These were quite OP. The Porsche, I think, was the best one. My favourite is the Ferrari, but let's just take out the Porsche. Oh, I've definitely got a lot more force feedback. Oh my god. What the hell? Yeah, these don't feel as fly away, let's say. They feel kind of like arcadey slightly to me before. You can brake a lot later now. Yeah, that's quite crazy. I think you've got more sort of braking now. I feel like I've got a little bit more feedback and control maybe with the car. Oh my god. Ooh. It's far more forgiving. It's like it feels more like you're getting more feedback, more feeling from the car, etc. But it's almost more forgiving than it was before. Oh my god, the braking is ridiculous. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm right over that and it's not telling me off, is it? It's not like saying, no. It definitely feels like it's more fun to drive. I think people will find it easier. Whether that's going to appeal to you is another question. Oh my god, the braking. That is insane. Wow, yeah. I mean, this is my first go. In terms of driving it feels fine. It feels nice, I guess. I could turn the ABS off if I wanted to have a more realistic feeling. That's what she said. But yeah, it's almost just a bit too easy now. And this is with no setup on either, so I can only imagine with a setup. This would be like a walk in the park for some people. And try and brake a little bit later and think, where are we? 200. Oh no, oh no. It can't have just come to a halt like that. No, what is it doing? You know what it reminds me of? When I try PMR and their brakes, like they'll just brake. It doesn't matter how late you are, they'll brake. I don't know if I'm feeling that, to be honest. See, I can just turn it in. Brake, turn in, and it will just do it. I don't know how I feel about that. The pace of this thing is definitely slower. Not just because I've done a shit lap. I do really feel like they have been slowed down. Wow. Now, GT3s, and we're now in the new Porsche 911. I have never really been a massive fan of the GT3s on Gran Turismo. I just find them really not hugely realistic compared to the games that I'm used to. For example. But I did at one point like the handling model of the GT3s. But this, I feel, is just still not quite where I'd like to see the GT3s. I think this has now made them a little bit slower. I think I have to put more input in terms of my steering as well. The braking's really strange now. Okay. Let me do a couple of laps. I'm deliberately going off to see if it kills me. Yeah, it will kill me. The curbs felt really kind of easy to go over, so I was just a bit concerned that I couldn't be killed. Well, let's do a couple of laps then. To give you an idea of how unrealistic this is, I just did a 2-minute 16 around Spa. I can only dream of doing that time on an LMU. The thing with Gran Turismo is it's not meant to be a sim, and I'm not trying to compare it to Le Mans Ultimate in any way, shape or form. It's just my experience that I have. I do feel like this handling model has improved the GT3s. In fact, I feel like the GT3s are probably the easiest they've ever been in terms of their handling model. But I feel like now they're too easy. If someone who is, for example, a average player like myself finds it too easy, the pros, the aliens, are going to find this particularly boring. The handling does feel okay. You can throw the back end out a little bit, which was quite nice to do in the Porsche. However, I do feel sort of the challenge of GT3s is just pretty much non-existent now in this game. They are slower, I believe. There is more feedback coming through the wheel. I can feel the car a lot more than I could previously, and I could definitely feel when the rear end is coming from underneath me. The brakes are pretty unrealistic. Like, I can brake at any point. I can late brake significantly more than before. I can just come to a complete halt and make the corner, which I think is just a little bit unrealistic. And again, PMR vibes. If you're just an average player, then I imagine this handling upgrade will probably appeal to you a lot more than it would me. You can see that I'm trying to lose the car on there and it just wasn't having it. The GT3s were definitely more challenging and more fun previously, but if you like something easier, that's what she said, then you might enjoy this version of the handling model with GT3s. Now, in terms of GT4s, my favourite has always been the plucky little Renault Megane. I think out of all the cars, I feel like the GT4s were probably the most fun to drive and the most chance of like potentially dying, as you could see. Like, they were easy to drive, but you got like feedback with them. So you could feel a lot of what was going on with the car. The feedback feels very similar to how it used to be and quite muted as well. Like, I've really had to turn my wheel up and now it's just decided to kick in. Okay. To be fair, I feel like the GT4s have had the least change. They somehow have more feedback, but less sort of strength in the feedback, if that makes sense. Don't know where I'm braking in GT4s. They're also more challenging. The GT3s are just too easy. Again, the same thing with the brakes. It's just like they come to a really abrupt halt. Like, you can make every corner. Rear-ending someone now should be quite difficult to do on this game. Let's try a different GT4. Just see if that is across the board the same. Right, GT by Citroen. Don't normally run this car very much, I don't think. I don't have the Genesis. I know the Genesis and those big cars are pretty OP. but I wanted to see how competitive these guys would be. The Megane definitely felt more difficult to drive. I've just flown over that, so... Bit late there, but again the car just stopped. Yeah, I mean, the GT4s definitely feel heavier than the others. Like the GT3s feel really light, and I had to mess around with my force feedback. These feel a lot more heavier than GT3s, and they definitely feel heavier than the GR1s. I've not tried out the GR2s. We don't really use them that much, so I just didn't think it was much of a point. All in all, I'm like this. I think there are some improvements that mean it's more accessible to people, and I'm all for that. However, I don't feel like it's very challenging anymore. The cars leveling out in terms of BOP is definitely a good thing. However, I still think that a particular car, GT3s, will still be quite OP. I still think there'll be OP cars because they don't seem to be able to balance out their BOP. So over the course of a week or so, you'll probably see that a car appears to be used more significantly in daily races, and that will be the OP car. It might not be the Porsche, but I feel like it still might be the Porsche a little bit. The handling model has always been a bit of a weird one to me. It's not a sim, and I apologise to anyone who believes it. There are some similarities, and you can definitely learn a lot about how to handle the car and drive and lines, etc., but it just doesn't have the overall feeling. Feel like the improvement is just to make things easier, which I get why they're doing that. They want more people to play their game, but I just don't overall feel it's very challenging. You do get more feeling in terms of the car, and if you're about to lose it, like, you get more feeling in the wheel in terms of the handling and losing the rear end, etc. Understeer now feels quite significantly stronger. Force feedback is definitely stronger, and I still say this, the force feedback through the T598 on this game is the best out of any racing game that I've played on this. It definitely needs to be turned down on my wheel, where in LMU, for example, I have to turn it back up. So there are pluses and there are minuses. I would have to play it a little bit more and really get to grips with it. I feel like majority of you will be slow at first on this, and then you'll pick up the pace again. I overall am not the biggest fan of the handling changes, and I just don't feel it gives you any kind of challenge anymore, other than maybe the GT4s, and even then they're not that challenging, and that's coming from an average player. More testing needs to be done. I've only been playing with it for about a day, so I do need to do more, and I'm sure that I will come back to you. There's also a lesser damage model, like a soft damage or something, which we'll try out tomorrow. We are doing a caterham event, so no doubt the cars will be put to the test. I did try out the caterham, and I really do feel like Gran Turismo really does well in just the normal day-to-day kind of cars in terms of handling, but still It's not perfect, and I think there'll be a mixed bag of reactions depending on how much you play this game. Let me know in the comments how you're finding the new updated handling and BOP. Let me know your thoughts, and if you are into racing game content, then you should probably subscribe to this channel for more average content, and don't forget to like the video. Thank you so much for watching.